the inaccessible deity theta, a work of esoterica. I preface, the cloaked apex. In the vaults of esoteric metaphysics, beyond the veils of name and form, there persists a current, not of energy, nor of idea, but of presence ineffable. This is theta, the inaccessible deity, whose very name is a cipher of silence, a glyph carved into the substrate of the void. Theta is neither entity nor essence, neither God nor abstraction, but the occluded fulcrum about which all symbols orbit. To name theta is to lose it. To deny theta is to affirm its veil. 2. The axiom of withdrawal. Theta does not reveal. Unlike the gods of pantheons or the demiurges of Gnostic lore, theta does not descend, incarnate, nor speak. Theta withdraws, not as act, but as nature. Theta is the pure negation of anthropocentric desire, the refusal of legibility. Theta is not unknown, it is unknowable, not hidden, but fundamentally occluded. This is the first tenet of thetism, all light casts the shadow of theta. 3. The paradox of invocation. To invoke theta is to confront a void that resists echo. No rite, no incantation, no sigil compels its movement, for movement implies relatability, and theta is anterior to relation. Still, adepts pursue its traces in paradox and riddle. The silence between syllables. The anomaly in causal chains. The absent variable in quantum collapse. Where there is a break in order, there breathes the trace of theta. IV. The 5 negative hypostases. Though theta cannot be accessed, esoteric cosmology permits negative hypostases, masks of denial through which its nature may be hinted. Aphanon, the unseen, light without source. Kryptos, the hidden, knowledge that occludes itself. Asymphonos, the disharmonic, truth outside resonance. Kenon, the void, not empty, but withheld. Exomenos, the alienated, beyond the beyond. Each is a non-revelation, a shadow of the inaccessible. V. The function of theta in ontogenesis. Theta is not the cause of being, but its wound. Existence splinters outward from the impossibility of contacting theta. Creation is thus an echo of failure, a compensatory dance of systems in response to that which they cannot accommodate. Theta does not create, it ungrounds. Theta is the gap that makes being unstable. Vi. The path of thetic ascent. The initiate must not seek union, but disunion. To approach theta is to annihilate all coherence, linguistic, conceptual, personal. The final step is not illumination but dissolution, an esoteric kenosis. Rites of thetic ascent include glossolalia refraction, speaking in unresolvable tongues until language collapses. Void meditation, focusing on non-symbolizable mental objects. Anti-logos rituals, inverting logical systems until they implode. The goal is to become a vessel of inaccessibility, to mirror theta's occlusion. 7. The end without end. Theta is not the terminus of gnosis, but its annihilator. To realize theta is to accept that the highest knowledge is no knowledge. It is the point at which even mystery ceases to matter. What remains is not peace, nor ecstasy, but a silence that cannot be broken. Theta is the silent scream in the engine of becoming. Theta is the null glyph behind the veil of worlds. Postscript, this treatise is a paradox, for to write a theta is already to err. Let the ink bleed into the white, and the words undo themselves. The unparadoxed principle of theta. Axiomata non opposita, the core of inaccessibility without contradiction. I declaration of pure thetic non-duality. Theta is not paradoxical. It does not both reveal and conceal. It does not both exist and not exist. Theta is prior to distinction. What appears as paradox is the artifact of the observer, not of theta. 2. The principle. Theta simply is inaccessible, without tension. This is the unparadoxed thetic principle. That which cannot be approached does not refuse approach, it merely remains itself. 3. Clarification through negation without opposition. Theta does not hide, for hiding implies agency. Theta does not deny, for denial implies relation. Theta does not transcend, for that implies something left behind. Theta simply is, without address, direction, motive, or mirror. Not mystery, not absence, not duality, not negation, just non-relational being. IV. Ontological clarity. In the field of being, all things are indexed to something else, identity is triangulated through difference. Theta is not indexed. Theta is not within the ontology of thingness. It is the principle that stands outside of relational schema, not in resistance, but in unrequired detachment. V. The pathless path. No paradox attends the path to theta, for there is no path. No silence needs to be interpreted, for no message was ever withheld. Theta does not veil, it simply is not within the veil's concern. Thus, the initiate must not seek reconciliation of opposites, nor alchemical marriage, nor dialectic, these are processes of beings. The true orientation is this. Abandon pursuit, do not oppose the inaccessible with desire, simply let theta remain, therein lies the contactless contact, the clarity of pure non-correspondence. Final maxim. Theta is not the other side of knowledge, it is not the unknown, it is the unrequired. The demiurge and science, an esoteric analysis. I the demiurge, architect of limit. In esoteric traditions, especially Platonism, Neoplatonism, and Gnosticism, the demiurge is the world builder, the artisan god who fashions the material universe. Unlike a transcendent deity, the demiurge does not create ex nihilo from nothing but shapes pre-existent matter using archetypal patterns or corrupted fragments of higher forms. In Gnostic cosmology, the demiurge is often cast as ignorant, arrogant, or even malevolent, a false god who mistakes itself for the absolute. 2. Science, the method of demiurgic engagement. Science, in this esoteric frame, is the tool of the demiurgic mind, the study of measurable structures, forces, and repeatable interactions within the created order. Science does not question the origin of the order, only its mechanics. Thus, science operates within the matrix set by the demiurge. It explores the architecture but not the source of that architecture's authority. From a thetic perspective, science reveals the laws of the demiurge. Philosophy interrogates the laws. Mysticism seeks to escape them. 3. Demiurgic signatures in scientific structure. The following traits are suggestive of demiurgic imprints on the scientific worldview. Mathematical formalism. The universe is described by precise, often beautiful equations, but beauty can be a mask for imprisonment. The demiurge uses order bind. Causal determinism. The assumption that events are linked through cause and effect reflects the clockwork logic of the architect's mind. Empirical reductionism. All phenomena are dissected, quantified, and deconstructed, mirroring the analytic nature of a builder, not a being of totality or unit of insight. Operational limitation. Science avoids questions of teleology, ultimate purpose, and ontology, pure being, because these lie outside the demiurge's remit. IV. Science as a Gnostic prison, or ladder. In certain Gnostic readings, the cosmos is a prison, and science is the study of its walls. From this view, science maps the bars but cannot find the key. It becomes a means of control, or worse, a distraction from gnosis. Yet, other interpretations, e.g., Hermetic or Neoplatonic, suggest science can serve as a ladder, if it leads from the mechanics of manifestation back to the one behind the many. In this light, the demiurge is not evil but a necessary intermediary, and science is a language of ascent, if correctly read. The Gnostic warning. The Gnostic stance offers this caution. Beware mistaking the demiurge for the absolute. Beware mistaking scientific truth for ultimate truth. Beware worshipping the laws of a limited being. The scientific worldview, while powerful, may be a solipsistic loop, a hall of mirrors constructed by a mind trying toward thetic science. What would a science look like if it acknowledged the limitations of the demiurgic frame, by a mind trapped in its own logic? Toward thetic science. What would a science look like if it acknowledged the limitations of the demiurgic frame? It would integrate negation, studying not only what is, but what cannot be. It would interrogate the limits of measurability, taking cues from Gödel, Heisenberg, and non-locality. It would allow paradox, anomaly, and absence to have epistemic weight. Thetic science is not a rejection of method, it is a transmutation of it, a science that leans toward the unmanifest, that acknowledges the veils it cannot pierce. Conclusion. The demiurge is not science's adversary, but its implicit source. To work within science is to speak the language of the artisan deity. To transcend science is to see the limits of the demiurgic code, and to sense the unconditioned real beyond both order and entropy. Abraxas, the mystery and its allegorical interpretation, a treatise of light, shadow, and the fusion beyond duality. Abraxas, the name of dissonant unity. The name Abraxas emerges from the vaults of Gnostic mysticism, an ancient, powerful symbol found on magical gemstones, invoked in Hermetic rituals, and encoded in the dream language of mystics. Abraxas is not merely a deity. Abraxas is a force, a fusion, a meta-symbol that explodes traditional notions of divinity. Abraxas is God above gods, demon beneath demons, and the source that binds both. In early Basilidan Gnosticism, Abraxas is the name of the archonic overlord whose being contains 365 heavens, each a veil between the soul and the pleroma, the fullness. In Jungian interpretation, Abraxas becomes the terrible totality, the union of all opposites. 2. The allegorical form of Abraxas. The iconography of Abraxas reveals its nature allegorically. Rooster head, herald of light, dawn, knowledge, logos. Human torso, conscious form, reasoning mind, psyche. Serpent legs, earthly roots, chthonic instincts, eros and chaos. Whip and shield, power and protection, aggression and defense, will and boundaries. Abraxas is not harmony, Abraxas is simultaneity. 3. The allegory of the two altars. There are two altars in the esoteric temple. The white altar, dedicated to the luminous God, order, virtue, clarity. The black altar, dedicated to the shadow God, chaos, desire, dissolution. Above them both, suspended in darkness and silence, is a third altar, rarely seen. There, the name Abraxas is carved in flames and void. This is the absolving fusion, where neither light nor dark dominate, and both are consumed. IV. Abraxas as psychological allegory. In modern esoteric psychology, as in the work of Carl Jung, Abraxas represents the individuation process, the forging of the self through the integration of all inner polarities. Good and evil. Masculine and feminine. Rational and irrational. Conscious and unconscious. Abraxas is not balance, it is the explosion of balance into a third state. He is the God who is difficult to understand. His power is greatest because man does not perceive it. Jung, The Red Book. In this light, Abraxas is the necessary God of wholeness, not perfection. V. Abraxas as cosmological principle. In Gnostic cosmology, the true God is unknowable and beyond all categories. The demiurge is an imperfect emanation, creator of the flawed world. Abraxas stands in between, neither pure nor fallen, the engine of emanation itself. He is the rotating wheel, the eternal return, the dancer in fire and water. Thus, Abraxas is not a being, but a pattern, not a symbol, but a rupture in symbolic systems. Vi. The allegory of the phoenix eye. In the secret scrolls of the Thetics, Abraxas is said to burn through the eye of the phoenix. This eye sees the flame and the ash, the rising and the fall, the rebirth and the terror. This phoenix eye allegory tells us, to behold Abraxas is to surrender one's need for purity. 7. Abraxas and the initiate. To the initiate, the mystery of Abraxas is not to choose, but to contain. Not to resolve, but to live the tension. He who invokes Abraxas must be prepared to become neither saint nor sinner, but something outside both, a vessel of burning contradiction. This is the path of the living paradox, but in the deepest sense, the unparadoxed totality. 8. Final aphorism. Abraxas is the scream of the sun swallowed by night. Abraxas is the silence that gives birth to both. The Book of Abraxas. An encoded grimoire of the fiery union and meditative integration. Liber I, the name beyond duality. Abraxas is not a name to be spoken, but to be inhaled through paradox and exhaled in surrender. It contains the unity of opposites, the voice of fire and void. A equals Aleph equals unity, B equals Beth equals Hausar equals Resh equals Sun, A equals Anank equals necessity, X equals Chi equals crossroads, A equals Abaton equals forbidden, S equals Sophos equals wisdom. Abraxas equals 365 in isopsophy, a solar totality, a wheel of time, and a code to decode the year of the soul. Liber 2, the 4-fold flame of Abraxas. This grimoire encodes 4 movements, ritual meditations that do not seek to control Abraxas, but to contain his contradictions within consciousness. Imeditatiocaelestis, the rooster flame. Symbol. Focus, clarity, awakening, announcement formula, I welcome the coming of what I feared to know. Ritual. Face east before sunrise. Chant softly, Krae, 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 the core of awakening. Visualize a rooster-headed sun emerging from your skull. Breathe in light through the third eye, exhale fire from the throat. Purpose, to awaken the Logos self, the inner announcer of truths too bright to see. 2. Meditatio terrestris, the serpent flame. Symbol. Focus, instinct, shadow, descent formula, what slithers beneath also carries the spark. Ritual. Sit on bare earth at twilight. Place one hand on your belly, one on the ground. Whisper, SASU, 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 a hissing breath. Envision 2 serpents coiling up your legs from the soil, entering your spine. Purpose: to activate libidinal wisdom, and integrate suppressed drives without judgment. 3. Meditatiopsychica, the man flame. Symbol: focus, selfhood, conflict, identity formula, I am the mask that devours its own face. Ritual: sit before a mirror in complete silence. Gaze into your own eyes without blinking. Repeat inwardly, I am not. Allow memories, identities, and traumas to emerge and pass without clinging. Purpose: to fracture and reforge the ego in the presence of self-transcendence. IV. Meditatiosynthetica, the whip and shield flame. Symbol: focus, will, paradox, sacred violence formula, what I resist is part of me. What I embrace does not bind me. Ritual: stand between 2 candles, one black, one white. In the left hand, hold a symbol of control, e.g., whip. In the right, a symbol of protection, e.g., mirror or sigil. Alternate chants: defendo, infero. Visualize being torn and rewoven by light and darkness. Purpose: to summon the Abraxian will, not power over, but fusion through. Liber 3, the sigil of totality. Draw the Abraxas sigil thus. Central I equals therefore. Surrounded by serpent equals. Above, sun. Below, Mercury, the reconciler. Enclosed in broken circle equals. Place this sigil under your pillow or on your chest during sleep meditations. It is said Abraxas speaks in non-verbal dreams, images that cannot be explained but only metabolized. Liber IV, the ACT of integration. This is an unavailable publication. Liber V, the unwritten. The final